Hi, Faceless here, and welcome to Movies on the Side, where I review movies that I didn't quite have time to put together in a full episode of Faceless Reviews. And before I start, this next movie I'm about to review, I had fully intended to make a full episode of Faceless Reviews. Actually, it was going to be the second episode of Season 3. However, with the computer problems that I've been dealing with in this past month, and especially this last week, it has gone to crap. The best way I can tell you is that this computer had given me the final finger and said, look buddy, I'm not doing anything. Therefore, I am reduced to just doing stuff on audio and using Movie Maker to present whatever review I'm doing right now. Now, I do have a new computer on its way, but it probably won't get here till like around next week or so. And to be quite honest, I could not let this go by without me even saying anything about how I feel about this next movie. And what movie am I talking about? Well, you guys read the title to this. It. The film is about 7 young children in a small town in Maine having to face off an evil entity in the form of a very creepy clown named Pennywise the Dancing Clown, who emerges every 27 years to prey on the town's children. The 7 young outcasts, named the Loser Gang, have to band together and overcome their personal fears to defeat this evil demon. And that's basically the plot in a nutshell. But trust me, there is a lot more that happens in this film than I gave in this little brief summary. I mean, this film had me on edge. Like, I normally don't go see horror movies in the theater. It's just, I know I review movies, but if you've noticed in the past, I've never really reviewed too many horror movies just because I have this sort of little anxiety attack, or I just can't handle them. I can't quote. But being that this is adapted from one of my favorite Stephen King novels, I just couldn't pass the opportunity to watch this in the theaters. And again, I really hate watching horror movies, but the fact that I want to see this movie again, even a third time in the theaters, speaks volumes of how great this film is. Now, if you've read the book or you've seen the miniseries back in 1990, you know that it comes into 2 parts. One when there were young children, and the other where they're grown-ups. For this film, they focus on them being kids, and let me tell you, the kids that they chose for these particular parts was phenomenal. Superb acting by these young actors and actresses. I couldn't ask for a better cast. They were believable on an emotional level, and they held their mannerisms almost to like an adult, but sometimes things were being said that I don't think they quite understood what they were saying. However, you related to these characters. I mean, these kids actually made the movie, and you really, really cared for them. You cared for what was going to happen to them. You rooted them on when they were going against Pennywise. They were the driving force of this film. However, there is that other factor that, oh my god, was it creepy. Bill Skarsgård as Pennywise. You know, when I first saw pictures of what he was supposed to look like, how they dressed him up, I didn't totally buy it. And it wasn't until the trailer came out that it got my interest. I'm not going to lie there. It really got my interest. And then actually seeing him play off as Pennywise, he got creepy to a science. I said earlier that this movie had me on edge. He got me on edge every time he was on screen. And yes, there are a lot of jump scares. Most people know that I hate jump scares. I really do. But these were the kind of jump scares that were set up perfectly, and they kind of lingered on because it was like they got a hold of you and they didn't let you go, and they did that really well in this film. And for those of you that are kind of against violence towards children, yeah, the first 15 minutes, I wouldn't be surprised if you decided to walk away. It's definitely not, if you're not into that kind of violence or anything like that, not saying that I am, but if you're not into that kind of violence, maybe this movie isn't for you. And there was a certain shock value, almost like the same certain shock value of first seeing Jaws when that kid got eaten up by the shark. That was that kind of level of shock value for me. It got to that point where I wasn't sure if they were going to do what they did, and I don't want to give any spoilers out, but when it happened, I was like, oh wow, they really went there. And as I said before, the tone of this film, yes, it was a horror, but it was more of a thriller, suspenseful horror. Nothing really that terrifying, though, now that I think about it. Oh, that one scene where they're looking at the slideshow, oh, whoa. The whole theater screamed. Again, not giving out spoilers, but if you think that they showed the best parts in the trailers, you're half right. And what I mean by half, there is a little bit more to what happened in the trailers that you're gonna get in this film, let me tell you. And when I came home last night and went to bed, it really messed with my mind because I started seeing clowns, I started seeing Pennywise, and yeah. Now, I didn't freak out too much, but after talking to Lady Gotham about it, she said that she kind of saw the same thing too, so that makes me wonder. Yikes. Overall, I love this movie. Now, I won't go as far as saying this is the best movie I've seen this year so far, but it's pretty damn close, so we'll see how the rest of the year goes, but it's definitely up there in my top 3. So very quickly, if you hadn't guessed by now, my rating for this movie is an A. And that's just my brief thoughts on the film. Now, I wish I could go a little bit more in depth, but I am kind of going at this unscripted, and I bet you guys could hear that I'm stuttering just a little bit. And as I said before, hopefully I'll be getting my new computer soon, and once I get my new computer, I could start with season 3 and then get into finishing up my movies, but that's just going to be another story to talk about later. So until then, this is Faceless, signing off.